Hi, I'm Uncle Mark. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel and don't know me, we're going to get to know each other in the next little while here. Dealing with a broken dipstick. Now, what's happened is the handle's busted off. I just bought this car. I don't know the story. I just know when I looked to check the oil, no dipstick handle. And you can see something stuck in there. So how do you deal with that? I'm going to show you this on a certain kind of vehicle, but it's probably universal. We'll explain that to you. Let's get right to the video. How do you deal with dipstick that the handle's broken off and you can't get it out? So here's the problem. I bought this car and, checking it over when I was looking at it, and there's a dipstick there. There's a dipstick tube here, and it's like, oh, it's one of those fancy new cars that doesn't have a dipstick tube for the engine. It's like, what is in there? That's very confusing. Well, it looks like it's been broken off for quite some time. How do you get it out of there? So you can see it in there. Kind of yellowish. Yeah, right in there. I'll show you what I did. I was just trying to access it a little bit. There was a shield on top of this engine, so I took that cover off. And I'm just going to move these wires out of the way for my benefit, for the camera's benefit, just so we can see where this bolt is. I also tied those wires out of the way a little bit. So there's the bolt there. It's got a little bracket, and it just hooks up to the dipstick tube. It's just one bolt. Like, it doesn't really take any kind of pressure or anything. I'll show you, there's the bolt there. So I guess the plan is, if I can get that off, that's all that's really holding the dipstick tube in, really. And that's the way, most vehicles are going to be. This one's the 13 millimeter, of course. I don't know what size yours is, if you're doing a different car or not. It'll be something smaller like that, because again, it's not really holding anything special. Socket and ratchet would have worked faster. Yeah, I agree with you. But me, kind of stubborn. But anyway, I thought, well, I will be a little more tech here. We got a ratcheting wrench. Or, like to say across the pond, a spanner. So it's a pretty long bolt for something that doesn't have to hold on very tight. So get that out of the way. That's all it's holding on there. Now it just goes into the oil pan, and it's really only held in with, it's got a couple little O-rings there so it doesn't leak. It should just pop out, right? Right. So I can wiggle it around. Doesn't seem to really want to move up and down. So I was a little confused. It's like, am I missing something? I was pulling pretty hard. In fact, I think I kind of bent the bracket a little bit that I showed you there. So I went underneath. Now this is the problem. Most vehicles have a belly pan under here now, and this one's been broken. The people that owned it before did some kind of strange stuff. So you'll just have to figure out if you end up having to go underneath, and I think you will have to. There's usually none of this stuff, but there's bolts all around in the plastic and probably clips. So once you get access in there, and you'll probably be able to get it off a little easier. This had, it's a long story. It wasn't going to be easy to get the other side off, so I thought as long as I can stick my hand in there, see what's going on. So on this side, there's a tube that comes out, a report out of the oil pan, and the dipstick tube actually goes into it. So I'm just got the wife to wiggle it a little bit to see, is it going to come out or what is it doing? So here I tried pulling it again with some vise grips, tried to hang on a little bit. I should have grabbed closer to the dipstick tube because, like I say, the bracket is very light metal, and it kind of bent a little bit, but it's not big deal. You can bend it back.
Oh no.
I should just be able to wiggle and pull. I'll just show you a little bit longer how much monkeying around. I'm not going to show you. Oh, there we go. They did finally pop out, and I can see it inside there. But if you look at the bottom here, see, it just is two O-rings And that's basically all that's holding it in there. Now I tried pushing this. It's like I needed to go back in the tube, so then it pops out the other side because the other side's bigger, right? It's got whatever part of the handle was in there. Nope. Then I tried forcing it against some other pieces without bending it. It's like, oh, it's got to pop out. How tight is it in there? Oh, pretty darn tight, as you're going to see. Tried twisting it a little bit. Didn't want to twist it and break it, because then what am I going to do? So tried putting it in vise. And the plan was, let's drill a little hole in the top of it, run a screw in there, and then I can just pop it out with the screw. That makes sense, doesn't it? That makes sense. Maybe I should have used maybe a different type of screw, maybe. Something with finer threads. Just kind of a wood screw. Or deck screw. I thought it's just got to grab in there, right? And then just give it a pull. I grabbed some vise grips. Tried pulling within the vise. I mean, it did not want to budge. Not at all. Oh boy. Good thing I had a vise for it, because I don't think two people could pull this. And I thought, let's flip it upside down, and maybe, you know, when it stops like that against the vise, I can pull a little harder. So then I thought, well, what if I grab the screw a little further in and then turn it, and when it pushes against the dipstick tube, it'll kind of pull out as it turns. Does that make sense? So I tried that a few times. It's like, yeah, maybe this is working. I don't know. In theory, it should, right? In theory. So I turned it. It's like, oh, it's getting tighter. It's getting tighter. What in the work? It ripped right out of the plastic. So it's like, well, I could either try another screw or I could go to plan B, whatever that is. And I didn't have a plan B. So I thought, well, maybe from the bottom, I can grab onto the bottom of this dipstick. We're going to be throwing it out anyway, because the handle's missing, and, you know, grab onto it and try and tap it out. Nope. I don't think it moved at all. So I thought, well, I don't want to monkey around much more. Let's use a really big bit and just drill the plastic out. Guess what? That worked. Of course, I'm glad I didn't do it in the car, because that stuff could, you know, go down into the engine. I don't want that. And then I just pushed from the bottom. Look how easy it's just, yeah, it just up, came out, pulled it out. So let's put the dipstick tube back in. So I figured let's put some oil on the end, like on those seals, just so they slip back in a little easier. Although they were kind of a little bit wet. But remember, it was hard to get it out. So I thought, well, I'll just dip it in here. I probably could just use my finger. Actually, it'd probably be better to use a glove, right? Rubber glove. Throwing oil on your hands. And tried getting it back in the hole there, and it's so long, it's like, easier said than done. So this is where I had to go back under again. That's what I'm thinking. That's probably the way you would have to do it too. Possibly. So, climbed under here again. I'll get the camera in here and show you what it looked like. You can see me on there a little bit. Some flashlights. Figuring, where is it now? Not much room under there. There, so you can see it hanging there, right? Right there with the two little, and it's got to go in this tube to our left. There it is. So it's basically got to go around there and up into the tube. So we know the plan. So I thought, well, again, no room for hands or anything else. I figured if I can just kind of get it to sit on top of there, like where it needs to sit. It moved over a little bit. Just kind of flip it over there a little bit. Come on. Then I thought either I could grab on and pull it down, but no, there's no room. So I had it sitting where it needs to be, or at least I think I did. Let's take a closer look here. There we go. So a piece of it kind of fell under. You see no way are those two seals going to let you do it. So I tried pushing it with my fingers, and it's like, I'm pushing pretty hard. Tube isn't necessarily straight either, so I thought, well, okay, let's hold it in, give it a little tap, and that worked. Don't want to hit it too hard, don't want to bend anything, but it popped in. Went underneath again just to make sure, yeah, both those seals down in there. It's like, yeah, I couldn't see them, so figured let's put her back together. This is basically reverse of what we did. Get the bolt, put on the bracket. Like I say, the bracket I had bent a little bit, but here it's not too bad. I had to just push it down with something else to just get it low enough so the bolt would go into the block. Getting kind of excited to see how much oil is in this engine. And then I just bolted it back on, and it's like, just make it a little more than snug. It's like I say, it's not really hanging on. And you see the way this bracket is kind of molded to where it's got to sit. Yours may look a little different, no matter, depending what you're driving, right? That's basically it. So I'd ordered a new dipstick, and I've had this handles break off on other vehicles. In the wife's Caravan, I broke it off for her once. So I can see how it happens, but I can't believe, I don't know how long these guys are driving it like this. Just put it in there, pulled it out, might as well see how much oil's in it, especially if yours has been broken for a while, and it's way down. It should be where my fingernail is at the lowest. So I measured it later because I did an oil change, and there were a whole 3 liters that should have 5, whatever that is in quarts. Anyway, glad I didn't drive very far. We were running out of oil. That would have been it for the engine. For a few bucks for the stick. And a little bit of time putting it in. I don't know how long this will take. I think it's about a 16-minute video. So let's say if it took you half an hour, if you had tools kind of aligned and you had a way to jack the car up a little bit. I didn't show you that part, but hopefully you know how to jack your car up. And this one had a cover on the engine, so I'm going to put the cover back on, and they're just little fingers, whatever, that pop into there. There's one there. Most vehicles are going to be similar. They all have this shield or cover. There's one over there. So if you can line the first 2 up, the rest of them will just line up. Well, they should. Pop it down. There you go. So after you check the oil, you want to replace the belly pan, take the jacks out, and put everything away, and you're good. Well, that's going to do it for our video. Hopefully the explanation makes sense to you. That doesn't really matter what kind of vehicle it is. Engines are very similar. Maybe the location's a little different kind of bolt, but whatever you're driving, if the dipstick's busted off, hopefully this is going to help you out. You can subscribe down in the corner, please, if you don't mind, as long as you think you can benefit from it. Give me the thumbs up too. If you like this kind of information, lots of it on the website. I also got a buddy at Project Time Garage. That's his logo right here. And I will put a link right at the very end of the video. Plus, we'll put it up here too. Just, why not? He's a good guy. Very similar kind of content. Probably a lot better, actually, right? Until next time, you and your family stay safe. Uncle Mark saying bye-bye for now. Remember to be safe. Your safety is your responsibility and should be priority number 1. Also, give me the thumbs up if you like the video. Plus, please subscribe and you'll get all the notifications. It's easy. The little dog will show you how. Ring the bell. Ring the bell. Can you turn it a little bit? else can we do? Oh, I'll put a link up here for our buddies. How about Brian at